I am a born and bred Rhode Islander, so I've been living in New England my entire life. Love it here and couldn't think of anywhere else that I'd rather be. And in fact, was not looking for a job. The main reason that we did was my husband had applied for a job down at Castleton University, which he received. So I thought, well, if we're going to make it a leap, the place to go is Vermont. And just was looking, in general, and when this came up, I thought, wow, an opportunity to actually do work I love in a place that I love. And I had to apply. But trash was not always my passion. You're probably surprised about that, but if anyone had told 17-year-old me that I'd be working in trash and that I would find joy in other people's trash, they would have said, you are absolutely insane. And yet here we are. So it's been an interesting road. I'm not an environmental scientist. I am not an engineer. I trained in political science, and my experience really started with the Sierra Club. I was an environmental advocate for the Rhode Island chapter of the Sierra Club, and I worked on land use issues. Anti-sprawl was a very, very big issue for me. I worked on clean water, and towards the end of my time at the Sierra Club on waste and recycling. Right from there, I went to work for a municipality. So I went to work for the town of Smithfield, Rhode Island, as their recycling coordinator. So I went from a very pie in the sky, rainbows and unicorns view of what the world should be to boots on the ground. I was answering the phone, answering the recycling questions, and my bin got cracked and got hit by the truck. Can you bring me a new one? Sure. I worked with our haulers very closely. We had two haulers, one who did the trash, one who did the recycling. Worked very, very closely with them, developed great relationships. They were fantastic partners, and implemented a first in the state program that actually was the idea of the haulers. And so we really valued their input so much that we created this program, and it was designed to increase participation. And we did that. We went from about 70% recycling participation up to about 92% through this program. So it was that communication with our haulers, with our residents, and working with our town council, who was very supportive, that got those programs through. So it was a great community to work in, small community, but really helped me to see that you could have the pie or you could have the practical, and my love really was in the practical, even though I love pie. So from Smithfield, I went on to the job of resource recovery, and Rhode Island Resource Recovery is very similar to Chittenden Solid Waste District. We are a quasi-public agency. We are responsible for the entire state's solid waste management. And my job was the recycling part. So what was unusual about when I came on board was I was responsible not only for programs and outreach and education, but also for MRF operations. So I had both sides, and I loved it. I loved the technical part. I loved the operations. I loved understanding why we could do what we could do and why we couldn't do what we could do. Because part of my job was to explain to people why you can put this in your bin, but you can't put this in your bin, but it's all plastic. Isn't all plastic the same? And no. So that was a great opportunity to have both sides of the story.